Hey everyone, welcome back to another Mattel Jurassic World review. Today we're taking a look at the new attack pack, Minmi. This figure is part of Wave 2 of the Primal attack packs. I ended up getting this figure off of Amazon. It retails for $7.99. And as always, I'll leave a link in the description if you want to order this figure off of Amazon. This figure is also being found in Target stores, so if you want to hunt for this figure in the wild, Target would be your best bet. So before we crack this figure open, let's take a quick look at the packaging. You've got the sunset in the background with the paddock fencing, the Jurassic World logo up in the corner, Owen in blue down here, and thankfully with the new Camp Cretaceous packaging coming out in the summer, we will not be seeing those two in the packages for a little bit. And on the back of the package right here, you have the other figures available in this wave. Looks like the Ornitholestes and Tarbosaurus are in Wave 2. They were previously available in Wave 1, so it's really good that we got these new sculpts available in another wave. Sometimes these newer sculpts just become really, really hard to find for collectors. And we have the Rhamphorhynchus repaint, which I will be getting in probably sometime next week from Amazon. So with this packaging nonsense out of the way, let's crack this figure open. And here is Minmi out of the packaging. Now this figure is a repaint of the previously released Minmi that came out way back when the Mattel Jurassic World line started. I actually don't have the original figure. I just never liked the color scheme on it, so I never picked it up, but I do like the red coloration on this one. So let's do a couple quick measurements before we take a closer look at this figure. This figure is pretty much exactly 6 inches from the tip of the tail to the tip of the snout, and just about 2 inches tall at the highest point on its back right here. Now, Minmi is a small early Cretaceous ankylosaur from Australia. It was just under 10 feet long. So with those measurements, I'll put this figure somewhere in the 120 scale range. So like I said, this figure is a repaint, but for it being a repaint, there are barely any paint applications on this figure. All the red coloration on this figure is just molded red plastic, and most of the white you see is also molded plastic. Along the back right here, there is a covering that goes over this white section right here, which gives the illusion of spikes popping out through the back. And the only other paint apps on here are the spikes along the tail painted in white and the spikes along the head. And you just have a little bit of shading around the eye right here. And that is pretty much it for paint apps on this figure. I know I've been saying that Primal Attack has done a much better job with paint apps on their figure, but this figure right here is definitely lacking. The red coloration and the white do work on this figure. I just wish there was maybe a little bit something extra, maybe some white shading under the belly right here. I think that would have helped out this figure just a little bit. So anyways, let's just zoom in and take a look at some of the finer details on this figure. You can see the eye is painted in green with a black pupil. Now, I do have a messy paint app right here. It looks like there's a little bit of a booger sugar on the nose of this Minmi, but anyways, he can go get help if he wants to get that taken care of. And then looking at the head right here, this is the one part that always bugged me about this figure. It's probably the reason why I never picked up the first one in the first place, is that this inorbital fenestra right here sculpted in Ankylosaurus did not have this. So I just think it looks really, really weird on this head sculpt on this Minmi right here. And then going down the neck, you can see some those spikes painted in with white along the top of the head and side of the neck. And then going down to the body, you can see a lot of nice scale detail. The toes, claws aren't painted on the back or front feet, which is pretty much common for the attack pack figures. The spikes along the back right here, they are molded white plastic, and those look really, really well. I like the effect of them coming through the body right here. They look much better than the painted ones. You can see a lot of nice scale detail on the back armor right here, and then going down to the tail, you can see the spikes along the tail are painted well for the most part. Just got a little bit of paint rubbing right here, but all over the whole figure there is a lot of nice details. Even on the underside of the animal right here, there's a lot of nice scale detail. And here is the fax app code for those of you that want to scan it into the app. So all in all, it's a decently sculpted figure. It does look nice. Like I said, just the head sculpt kind of drives me nuts. I just hate seeing that inorbital fenestra on Ankylosaurus. Just does not look right at all. Moving on to articulation, this figure does have standard articulation. The head can rotate side to side, and there is a ball joint in here that allows the head to look down a little bit and just up a very, very tiny bit. The front legs can move forwards and backwards. Same thing with the back legs. They can move forward very little. They start to hit the stomach right here, but they can move back pretty well. And then the tail just rotates 360 degrees, and that is all the articulation you are going to get this little figure right here. All right, so let's move on with some comparisons. Here is another armored dinosaur that recently came out in the Mattel Jurassic World line. This is their Sauropelta. And as you can see, Mattel seems to really like using red right now for their smaller armored dinosaurs. And I think there is a reason for that. Right here, this is a figure of Pelta. This is the Collecte Pelta. Now, what makes this dinosaur so special is that when Pelta was discovered in, I think it was 2017, it was so well preserved that paleontologists were able to tell what color this animal was. It was determined that it was a reddish coloration, so I think Mattel decided to give some of their smaller armored dinosaurs that red coloration as a homage to Pelta. And next up is the new Soundstrike Edmontosaurus, or I like to call it the Edmontoraptor because of those terrible, terrible sound bites that are on this figure. You can see how they stack up next to each other. I still say it every time I talk about this figure. This Edmontosaurus is just way, way too small for the Jurassic World line. This Edmontosaurus would absolutely dwarf Minmi in real life. Like, you know, if these two were scaled to each other, this Edmontosaurus wouldn't even fit into frame right now. And lastly, here is the Massive Biters Tarbosaurus, which is definitely one of my favorite figures to come out recently from Mattel. And lastly, I actually almost forgot to do it. I usually lead off with the human figures. Here it is, next to John Hammond. Final thoughts on this figure. It's an alright figure. You know, if this figure wasn't colored red, which remind me of Pelta, I probably wouldn't pick it up again. It's not my favorite sculpt. Like I said, just that inorbital fenestra on the head right there just kind of drives me a little bit crazy. But, you know, if you're a completionist, you are definitely going to pick this figure up. And like I said, you can order it off of Amazon. The link is in the description. Or you can go out to Target and do some hunting, because that's where this figure and the Rhamphorhynchus are popping up right now. So that will pretty much do it for the review. Like I said, I should have the Rhamphorhynchus repaint sometime next week. And as always, if you're enjoying the content on this channel, hit that subscription button just below the video. Each subscription helps out the channel tremendously and is greatly appreciated. I'll see you guys for the next one.